how we develop language is absolutely wonderful, because we actually make sounds as soon as we're born. You know, we cry, which is our first level of communication. And language, of course, verbal language, is only one aspect of communication. We have facial expressions, we have body language and so on, which is the first way that babies communicate. But also babies need to be exposed to language first. They need to be exposed to a form of communication, which is initially via facial expression, but also, and the body language of the parent, but also parents talk to their babies, or you hope that they do, because right from the very beginning they need to hear the sounds of the language in order that those wonderful parts of the brain that are developed, you know, that are associated with language, are able to develop. And one of the magical things about it is there's some research that seems to suggest that those language areas in the left side of the brain are already slightly different, even prenatally. So it's almost as if, because the child can hear the mum's voice in the womb, that there is already something going on with that kind of those language areas in the left side of the brain. The right side of the brain also has the language areas, but they are more to do with the emotional quality of the voice, which again shows how everything is integrated, that when you speak to the baby, your tone of voice, so it's what you say and how you say it, which is just as important as the fact that you are speaking to the baby anyway. So baby starts off with coos and gurgles, and you know, then a bit later on, I think it's about 3 to 4 months, they start with squeals and growls and then raspberries and things like that. And then by about 8 months, they do this wonderful kind of babbling. And it does seem to emerge out of the blue, where they do this wonderful, you know, musical sort of babbling. And babies seem to do that all over the world roughly at the same sort of time. And even deaf babies appear to babble, in inverted commas, with their hands. So, and the magic is that they seem to babble in the rhythm of the language that they've heard the most. So even, there is a suggestion that even children who are exposed to 2, even 3 languages right from the very beginning still have a language that is their preference. And it may very well be the one that the mum uses to speak to most. You know, they can still have language, you know, in parallel, but there always seems to be a language that is slightly still preferred, you know, the others. So they get that, and then, you know, with the mum sort of responding, and they do that wonderful babbling and shrieking, so they get this great feedback of their voice, because the more we get feedback, the more we can actually begin to realize that it's my voice that I can hear. And you get these babies doing this wonderful thing where they really shriek, you know, and then they begin to understand that this is me, this is coming from. And then gradually it comes. But of course, parents and carers help, because the way that they talk to babies in this particular kind of motherese, that lovely sort of sing-song way, it exaggerates the sounds of the language. It exaggerates the mouth movements. So babies, when they're imitating and being imitated, which is very much that way round before 8 months, you know, if they go ooh like that, parents will go ooh and really, really exaggerate it. So they get to know which mouth movements go with which sounds, which also helps. And apparently the more children are just spoken to, just chatted to, that seems to be the key. So going around the supermarket and saying, oh, shall we go buy shall we get this tin of beans, or what about those tin of beans? You know, parents who do that naturally don't feel, you know, they don't feel silly. They just chat to the baby about what's happening, and the babies love it. You know, they don't care. It doesn't matter that they don't understand what the actual words are. What's important is they're hearing the words, and also the words that help them understand their feelings, express their feelings, like, oh, are you feeling sad today? So the baby gets the feedback from the facial expression, the voice, gets to know the link between the feeling. The whole thing is beautiful. And one magical thing that I've always found magical is the fact that some research suggests that when we as human beings talk to our pets, we use this wonderful kind of motherese, but with one significant difference. We don't emphasize the vowel sounds. So we can say to our dog or cat or whatever, ooh, have you had a good walk? But we don't go, ooh, have you had a good walk, like that, because they don't need the vowels, but the babies do, because in this country that's the sounds they're going to be hearing, and that's the sounds they'll pick up on. So when they start to babble, they get this beautiful thing. And of course babies understand more than they can actually say, because you can say to a little, 14-month-old, shoes, and they will show their shoes and so on, which is just wonderful.